Episode 150. A beautiful day has begun. Neither of them were wearing any clothes, so they felt very good. Jade could even feel Dario's thick leg hair rubbing against her smooth thighs. This posture was really too ambiguous. Why did she go to sleep without putting on her pajamas last night? Jade knew that she couldn't easily answer the ambiguous question Dario had just asked. "I'm not awake yet," she said, as she looked at him angrily. Dario raised his eyebrows and pressed against her even harder. She could clearly feel him pressing against her. Because she wasn't wearing any underwear, she could distinctly feel his heat, his shape, and everything about him. Jade felt very shy. "You haven't woken up yet. I'll wake you up. A beautiful day has begun." Dario leaned close to her ear and spoke in a lazy and hoarse voice. He had just woken up. Jade covered her red face and didn't dare to look into his eyes. Before she could completely wake up, she felt a familiar sense of haste and of being attacked. She could clearly feel Dario violently hitting her body. He was even more violent than the day before. Jade, who hadn't woken up yet, couldn't endure the stimulation. She soon submitted to him and couldn't stop herself from breathing harder. "Ah, Mr. Foster, what are you doing? Stop!" Things were moving so fast that she felt like a huge wave was pouring down on her. "Are you sure you want to stop?" Dario revealed a mischievous smile and immediately stopped what he was doing. Jade wasn't used to it. After he went out, she felt that her body was empty and it made her feel uncomfortable. She wasn't used to this, but she was too embarrassed to open her mouth, so she could only quietly whisper to Dario. "Do you want to continue?" Dario stared at her twisting body, and a trace of success appeared in his eyes. Jade stubbornly replied, "No." "You really don't want to?" "No, no." However, when his hand touched her body, she immediately revealed a coquettish expression. "Getting up early to exercise is good for you," Dario said calmly, and then went back into her body. Jade bit her lower lip so that she wouldn't scream. Her body didn't resist. Compared to Jade's rosy face, her body was fairer and wider. The two of them didn't seem to be doing the same thing. His movements were very gentle. She only began to slowly increase her speed after getting used to it. Dario's gaze was fixed on her body. Slowly, her body changed. He felt her trembling in his arms. He liked to look at her face and watch her expression slowly change from pain to happiness. Jade gave her first time to this man. She felt that she was forcefully woken up after still being asleep. Afterward, Jade was filled with an unfamiliar feeling for a long time. Dario quietly hugged her and gently kissed her face. He wiped the sweat from her face, and his eyes were full of satisfaction. Compared to Jade's tired face, Dario appeared especially energetic. Jade's entire body was soft and collapsed in his arms. She only felt a burst of pain from the inside of her thigh. She even found moving very difficult. She lay in his arms in a daze, and she still felt dizzy after being awake for a little while. She really hadn't expected Dario to ask her to sacrifice herself so many times in one night. It was almost like torturing her to death. She lay there powerlessly and didn't want to move at all. After a while, she found that she was still naked on Dario's body. Her body was wet and sticky, and the blanket was filled with passion in their love. She narrowed her eyes and looked at the sunlight that was shining on the floor. She seemed to have thought of something and suddenly sat up. She anxiously grabbed her phone and looked at the time. Sure enough, it was already past 8 o'clock. She thought it was strange that she had slept in, since she had clearly turned on her alarm clock. Why did the alarm not ring again? She immediately looked at Dario with a frown on her face and asked angrily, "Why did you turn off my alarm clock again? Didn't I tell you that I'm going back to the film crew today and that I can't be late? Mr. Foster, you're really too bad." After speaking, Jade immediately felt that she was awake. She wanted to quickly climb out of the bed, but when she stepped on the ground, she found that her entire body was sore. Even moving was difficult for her. She was even more tired than she was after shooting a whole day of scenes. Jade felt that her entire body was soft. When she was about to fall, Dario appeared just in time and held her from behind. He even pulled her back to the bed and kissed her on the cheek. He said very calmly, "Don't be anxious. I've already applied for leave for you. It's been a week." Jade turned around and looked at him in shock. She said in disbelief, "What? You already applied for leave?" "Yes," Dario nodded. "Did the director agree?" "You can ask him yourself." Jade couldn't help but doubt Dario's words. She hesitatingly grabbed her phone and looked at it carefully. She actually found a message from the director. He told her to rest for another week before coming back to film. She rubbed her eyes in disbelief. How was that possible? She had never heard of anyone taking such a long vacation. Even Michael Porter had never taken such a long leave of absence, and she had already rested for 3 days. In total, that meant she had 10 days left. But she should have finished filming by the end of the week. Wouldn't a week off slow down her progress? But won't this be bad? Jade looked at Dario in disbelief and seemed very hesitant. She didn't know if she should rest or not. She kept feeling that a week off was a little strange. She couldn't believe that the director had actually agreed to let her, the lead actress, take such a long leave of absence, especially since she wasn't sick or in pain. Although she felt that it was strange, she still didn't say anything. Since the director had agreed, she would stay and spend time with her grandmother and Mr. Foster. No buts. The director has already said it, so what are you afraid of? Are you tired? Lie down obediently. Dario smiled slightly and narrowed his dark eyes. He only wanted to push Jade down.